What do we do with the leftover bread after one finishes eating, the crumbs? People know that you can't throw them in the garbage. But if you can't throw them in the garbage, so what are you supposed to do with them? The Gemara in Daf Kuf Hey, Chulin, says that there is an angel in Shamayim that's in charge of making people poor. And when he sees that they throw bread on the floor and people actually step on them, then he has the right and permission to go and bring poverty into that house. And therefore, the Gemara says over there a story about one of the people that was very careful not to leave any crumbs and make sure that nothing falls down. And this angel that's in Shamayim, Sarda Niyuta, that's in charge of such a thing, was very upset. Every time he looked after him, he saw that he can't cause him to become poor. One time, this person was eating in a place that there was a bush. So he figured, wonderful, the Sar in Shamayim figured, wonderful, now all the crumbs are going to come around the bush. And that he can't clean. How could you clean such a thing? How are you going to come and clean every crumb that fell down? And afterwards, people would step on it when they walk around there, and then I can bring poverty into that person. When he finished eating, he took a shovel, and he digged up the whole bush, and he took him out, and with that he cleaned all the crumbs. So then he was very upset. He said, now he kicked me out of his house, because now I can't even in that scenario, I can't make him poor. So obviously this person is completely protected. So what do we do with the crumbs? The Gemara says, and it's brought down להלכה in Siman Kufpei, that אף על פי שמותר לאבד פירורים שאין בהם כזית, מכל מקום קשה לעניות. If you have bread of a shiur kazait, kazait is 1 ounce, around 27 grams, that you're not allowed halachically to be mevazeh. And we see exactly what it means. But less than that, if a person has less than that, which is called pirurim, crumbs, less than a shiur kazait is called crumbs halachically, such a thing is allowed to throw out, but you need to know that if you throw out such bread, although it's less than the shiur, less than the amount of kazait of 1 ounce, you need to know that that brings poverty. It says, kasher le'aniyut. It's halacha, in Siman Kufpei, in Shulchan Aruch. On that, the Mishnah Berurah says, it doesn't mean over here that you throw it in the garbage. It means the following. It means dafka lidros aleim, which means you can't throw it on the floor that people would step on it. That's when it's kasher le'aniyut. If you take bread and you throw it in a place that people could step on the bread, that is what brings poverty. That is what's wrong. Aval shemashlicham lamayim, if you put them in the water, you throw them in the ocean, on a river, or you put them in your sink and you let the faucet on to for the thing to go down, then en chashash kevan shu pachot mikazait. That's not a problem at all. There are those that are machmir that if you have enough crumbs that together it's 1 ounce, it's kazait, that it should be asur. But if you have less than that, you open the faucet, let it run in the water, that's fine. But over here, we have a chidushim of the achronim that say that you don't need to do all that. What the Gemara is talking about, throwing them in the garbage, today you can do it in a way that's actually not disgraceful for the bread, and it is respectful in that if you put it in a bag, you wrap it in a bag, and you take the bread, put it in there, and throw it in the garbage. That's respectful, and that you could do lechatchila without any problems. More than that, Rav Eliashiv says that even if you have a kazait, which means you have, let's say, a whole loaf of bread that you want to throw out, if you know that nobody's going to eat that loaf of bread, that you don't have a isur in this, because otherwise it's bal tashchit, you can't throw it out. But if you know that people are not going to eat it, it's already not fresh, and you know your family is not eating this, and there's no poor people around that you can give it to that would eat that kind of bread, so you put it in a bag, you throw it in the garbage. Although it's more than kazait, that's fine, he says. So we have over here this very important solution of what to do with the bread. What do you do with the bread when it's done? Wrap it in a bag, put it in the garbage, or put it in the faucet and put it in a sink, let the faucet run until it runs out. Interesting that idea that people have that one should give the bread to the birds outside, the halacha doesn't agree with giving any kind of bread. Why? Because if you made bracha on that loaf of bread, you can't give it to the birds. You can't give it to the animals. That's what the Mishnah Berurah brings down, and this is how the Ben Ish Chai is posek. That anything that you made bracha, you took a loaf of bread, you made bracha, motzi lechem min haaretz on that, Anything that comes from this loaf of bread, you can't give to an animal. You can't throw it outside to the birds. If you had the bread on the table, that you can't give at all to a of tameh. Not only that, you can't even give it to a goy. Some people have maids, and they want to give the maid, they want to give her the leftover food from Shabbat, from Yom Tov. If the food was on the table, says the Ben Ish Chai, it's asur. You're not allowed to give it. Even the Mishnah Berurah brings such a thing down. Mikar Adin, really you shouldn't have given any food that's Ma'achal Adam, that you made for people food, to an animal or to birds or to anything. But if one wants to be Mekar with that, fine. There's leniencies, but not the bread that was on the table to give to of tameh or to give to the maid. That's asur. If it wasn't on the table, you didn't serve it yet, it stayed in the fridge, it wasn't now on the chulent pot, you didn't give everything out, it was left over there, that you could give. But otherwise, whatever was on the table is asur. Even things that were on the table, that you're allowed to give to of tahor, you're allowed to give it to the birds, but even that, we said, that's not the things that you made bracha. If you made a bracha on this, and now a little bit is left over, that you can't give away. So one needs to be careful with that, but with that we learn there are leniencies, what you could do with it. It's better to throw it away in the garbage than to give it to the tameh animals, to give it to the goya if it was on the table.